I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Grateful. Thankful. Thankful. Gratefulness. Thankfulness. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. Gratefulness. Thankfulness. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. Thankful. Grateful. Right. Thankful. Petrova. I'm thankful of Fen Magic to manifest. It's called gratefulness, and you know that's what I'm all about. You know, the attitude to gratitude will determine your altitude in life. Yeah, your attitude to gratitude will determine your altitude in life. Loving that one there from my heart, Petrova, and a gratefulness. What are you grateful for today? What can you actually say today? You know what? Give thanks. You know, like really from your heart, you just like give thanks for that. Do you know? Make sure you check that out and make a note of it. Write it down. Get yourself a jar. Excuse me. Get yourself a jar even and write out all the things that you're grateful for. Every end of the night, you know, get yourself a piece of paper and write the things, 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for that day, for that evening. You know, for that strong, maybe even whatever it might be in that moment. You know, just attitude to gratitude determines your altitude in life. We are now into the second half of the Elevation Show. We are fully in the Elevation Station, and this is where we bring you great information about your health and well-being, mind, body, and soul, spirituality, all that sort of thing, and also bringing you great speakers, great guests on here that are, you know, full of knowledge, full of heart, and full of wanting to share with you what they know. And, you know, I love bringing different people onto the Elevation Show from all walks of life, from different areas of the globe as well. I absolutely love to do that. And this strong, I have a wonderful, passionate woman. I met her at the ITIL Food Fest. Yes, I met her at the ITIL Food Fest, and you know, she had this wonderful green outfit on, looking absolutely regal. And I'm there checking her out and saying, "Who's that woman? I like her outfit. She looks amazing." And then I think someone came and asked me, was it, "Who are you? Blah, blah, blah. This lady here wants to know who you are." And when I turned around, it's the same lady that I'm checking out in her green outfit, wants to know who I am. And that was it. We connected. And here we are, people. That was at the ITIL Food Fest. Here we are right now with a beautiful sister. As I said, she's very passionate, very loving, full of knowledge. She's a clinical therapist, a supernatural life coach. She's a former Minister of Family and Social Economic, SOAD. Like I said, she was at the ITIL Food Fest Plantation Cove, and now she is here live and direct on the Elevation Show with the eye. Please help me welcome Dr. Sherrill Chong. Sister Dr. Chong, how you doing? How are you doing? Let me make sure I've got your sound up. Are you there, sister? Are you there? Can you hear me? We can't hear you right now. Are you talking? Is your mic on?
Sorry, my mic was not on.
Oh,
hello, shalom from paradise. I'm coming to you from paradise. For those of you who do not know where paradise is, I'm in Jamaica.
Yes, the island in which we all love, of wood and water and plenty sun. How are you being today, my sister? How are you? You're looking absolutely
fabulous, 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 fabulous. I choose to be fabulous. You know, we are in a state of time. It is a time in the whole development and evolution of the world, where we are going to be under the stress. Yeah. There's no new normal, because normal is now a thing of the past. Right. Every day things are going to change. Every day there are going to be new challenges. Every day we will have to pull up something else from out of our spirits in order to cope, not just cope, but to thrive. We are not in the coping business. We are in the thriving business.
That's right.
And as the challenges become more intense and more critical, we are going to thrive even better because we're going to develop those capacities that will allow us to trump every situation that comes against us.
Absolutely.
Everyone. Because it can't be the same old, where we just sort of float through this and we just try and do a thing to cope. No more coping.
No.
We are going to be thriving. I have a new program that I'm going to be launching.
We're going to get into that, Dr. Sherrill. I'm going to put some brakes on you 1 second, right? Because I like to build up. I'm going to build up. I want the people them to know who you are, because some people need to know who you are. You understand? Some people know you. Some people need to know who you are. So before we give them the full fire and the full force, let's give them a little, backdrop and make them know, say, Yabanya. You know what I mean? Yabanya.
Oh, please.
So tell us a little bit just about 1940s. What was that like for you? The food, the island, the people, and you, more importantly, what were you like? What were you thinking and feeling at those tender ages?
Boy, I'm telling you, I was just totally opposite of how I am now. Let's just put it that way. That's the first thing. I was born into a family that was well-to-do and considered upper crust. My mother and father were in Who's Who, Jamaica. And my mother was very fair. She could pass for white, So I grew up in a very multiracial environment that encapsulated probably 4% of Jamaica. Right? So, and then I grew up in a very Christian environment. Both my parents were what you call, my father was an elder in the Brethren Church, and my mother was an officer in the Salvation Army.
Right.
So I came from a typical middle upper class background, right? Of privilege. And I had several wake-up moments in my life, starting very, very early.
Right.
I'm just going to give you 3 pivotal ones. One was at age 6. I went to a Billy Graham crusade, right? And of course, now remember, I go to church every day. We have devotions at home, we keep Sabbath, we go to Sunday church, we just, that was our life. And at age 6, I went to the first Billy Graham crusade. Billy Graham is an American evangelist.
Billy Graham, yes,
right?
I remember.
Yes. And he came in 1955 or somewhere like that. I remember all the families were there from the church, from every kind of church, right? And it was in what was then the Knutsford racetrack, where what we know as New Kingston was the original racetrack before it moved out to Caymanas. A little history for those who live in Jamaica. That was a racetrack. And of course, that was the biggest place to gather. It was bigger than Savannah Park.
Yeah.
Right. And there was no stadium. And so I went to the crusade. And 2 things came to me that I heard. That's all I remember from that whole thing. About preaching and singing and what happened. One was when Billy Graham came on and he says, I want to know that Jesus Christ was not a white man like me. He was a black man like you people. And he just went on preaching. And I'm sure I'm the only person who heard that.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I left there and nobody discussed it. Nobody discussed it. And I did not discuss it until I was in my 40s. Never come out of my mouth. But it went into my spirit. If Yeshua HaMashiach, or whatever you want to call him, was a black man, then it means that I can do everything that he did. And just like how he's a son of God and a little God, same way I am a God, son of a child of God. So that was the first thing that went into my brain. So it determined my whole spirituality moving forward. Now we know that there are three things that rule the world: health, wealth, and mindset. Right? From then I understood that. Because whatever is in your mind is going to determine how you act, how you speak, bam, 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 bam. Right. Now my mindset was clear to the point that I am a goddess, or a little goddess, whatever you want to call it. I'm right. 6. That adjusted my mindset. Now the next thing is that our family was, we had everything we needed. So we're very healthy, because you could buy whatever you want and eat whatever you want, right? And the other issue was that we were wealthy, but I wanted to have my own wealth. I'm 6. So, I mean, I used to collect things, collecting dolls, you collect anything I collect. I just collect a whole heap of. I'm still a collector these days. If I go and see a pair of shoes I like, I buy 3 of them in 3 different colors. That is how I collect things. I'm constantly having to be giving away because I collect things. That's just my whole, personality. Then the other thing at that same crusade was that Billy Graham took with him, the person to lead the songs, the person to lead the testimonies, the person with and the guy who he brought with him to give testimony was around 60 years old. Mm-hmm. And he was a white man with a beard, gray hair, and he flew into Jamaica with his Lear jet. Okay. And he came up on the stage and he says, if you serve God, he will prosper you. I flew into Jamaica on a Lear jet, and I give 90% of my income as a child. I live on 10% of my income, including flying this Lear jet down. And I said, whoa. I said, God, it's true, I'm telling you. God said, uh-huh. I said, God, are you color prejudiced? And he said, Sherrill, you know that color prejudice. What you want now? I said, you think you can make this little black girl as wealthy as that man so that I can live and fly around the world on 10% of my income? He said, of course. That's what you want? I said, of course. And he says, all right, all it is just listen to the spirit in your belly bottom and do exactly what the spirit tells you to do. Right. So I go home now and I think, okay, 90% tight. We were given our pocket money every week, and it was 1 shilling we had to take 1/10 out of it and drop it in the collection pit, right? From my father was an elder and teach us that from that. All get a shilling, which was like a dollar, mm-hmm. and 10 cents would go into the collection plate. So I said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start ease it up, right? Until I can give 90%, 90 cents in the collection plate and keep back 10%, and the 10% I'm going to save and invest. Right. Do you know I did that? I did that. And when I aged 56, I flew around the world on a world tour with my husband for 2 years on 10% of my income. Wow. You see how things that happen in your childhood determine what happens later on. This is why I tell people, go back to the dream. Yes. Whatever dream you have back there. Hmm. So that is a little bit of my background.
Wow. I mean, Billy Graham was, in his time, was one of the most, amazing speakers, amazing preachers of his time. I used to even listen to Billy Graham when I first got into Christianity many, many years ago. And Billy Graham, he really, I felt very sincere with certain things.
Yes.
He was true to the core. That's interesting, very interesting story. At 6 years old, you was already a lady boss. That means you was already born a boss. You was born a lady boss, and you seem to have, throughout the years and experiencing certain things, which we'll get into. And our series is overcoming, and we're going to talk about, your overcoming series as well. But it seems like you have grown into just accepting who you are and why you are. you know, and that's a
Yeah.
very important space to be in, you know, especially the works that you do out there for many people. If you don't accept yourself, then you know you
Yes. You know,
is it?
I'm still in a process, right? And every day it appears to me that there is less, there's more that I have to adjust.
Yeah.
Because you see, I'm still now in a very privileged cultural situation. I'm talking about 4% of the country, right? So you grew up with entitlement. My father was in the motor car business. He had his own business. And my mother had her own business. My aunt had her own business. Everybody was entrepreneurs around me. So that's what I'm going to grow into, right? And of course, you go to business college, you do your stuff right after high school. And then I had no ambition because I had everything given to me. When my mother said to me, what are you going to do now that you finish A levels? I said, I don't know. I'll take a break. I'm going to take a break from studying, right? She said, oh, no. And she just kept me enrolled me in those business college, right? Just American college, just come down to Jamaica. And I was vexed. I said, I want to take a break, go visit my cousins in New York, you know, a big deal. So she said, no. So I go to the college, you know, and there are 2 of us there with A levels, right? Most people who go to business college have O levels. If you have A levels, you go to university. I did not want to go to no university because I could not think of 4 years more study. I got a teacher scholarship and I promptly made sure I didn't go for the interview to consolidate it. So I couldn't go to university. So here am I now finished. And I decide, okay, I want to work with a bank or insurance company when I'm finished. You know, because that is the upper class place to go and work. Well, my dear, this man came to the college and he was saying, I want somebody to come and work for me as Caribbean. He was a Caribbean marketing manager for Merck Sharp and Dome and Charles E. Frost, which are the 2 biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. I said to myself, oh, no, I'm not interested because I don't know of those companies. Of course, there was a worldwide company, you know, but I'm only interested in Jamaica or what I know here. Well, he came and interviewed us 6 months before our course was finished. And the man come back the next month. And he just decided I must come and work for him. He says to me, I'm going to make you a little offer. Why don't you come to work for me when you leave school? I'll come and pick you up at 2 o'clock and you work from 2 to 5. And then your father pick you up from there to go home, right? And I give you full pay. You know, I'm not going to lose that opportunity. So I said, all right, I'll do it. And when I'm finished my course, please note that I'm going to work for an insurance company or a bank, right? So I went there. So you see, right away now, my whole thing was about earning money.
Yeah.
And so I went to work for him. And by the time the 6 months was up, just 5 months left, was up, I had so much money in the bank. And what happened is this, the overseas company paid us in US dollars. And the man had 5 companies and I was working for all 5, right? So when the time comes now and I'm graduating, I'm going to go work in my bank and insurance company. I said to my mother, I don't want to go back to this work because this man bringing things from all the different companies. I have to work for the mother joinery company that made kitchens and doors for apartment complexes. He had a car importation business. He had a restaurant. He had an investment company in land and property development. And then he was Caribbean sales manager for this thing. And I had to work for all 5 companies. So my mother says, you want a better strategy? I said, yes. I said, I'm going to work for the bank. She said, 1, the pay you're getting now is in US dollars. Go to the gentleman, take a piece of paper and write down the name of the company on the top and everything you do for that company, and go into him, dress up tomorrow like a professional, and you go into him and you put on your 5 sheet of paper and you say, my mother said to me, anything you learn to do, this man is training you in 5 different industries.
Right.
And paying you. So you go here and you learn everything you can about all 5 of these businesses. Then you can go work with the bank. Right? So I carry paper my next year. I go and talk to the boss. I say, excuse me, sir, may I have a word with you, please? I am 19. And he is probably just booking 30. So I go in there and sit down. I said, sir, I was just wondering, because I'm working for all these 5 companies, I was just wondering if there's any possibility of getting an increase in salary because I'm doing value added for all your 5 companies. And if the man in the turn over him chair, he laugh. I say, all right, Sherry, boy, you smart, so till I'm going to give you a full salary from one of the other companies. That was just across the road from our office. And so I'm getting 2 full salaries now. And I start working full time. So you see my salary that going to US dollars, it was in Puerto Rico. I just make it sit down there. That was savings and investment. Go back to what I'm talking about the 90%. I am now tithing 40% of all my income, just scoop it up and give it to the church. Don't remember, say tithe is at 10%. Anyway, I am moving towards the 90%. So now I have, what industry am I working in? Pharmaceuticals. And after I start to read all the literature that the med reps are being trained on, I say, but this thing is killing everybody. You read a PDR, which is a physician's death reference, which was produced for the whole world of physicians by my company, Merck. And it says, you take a medication, 2, 3 lines tell you what the active ingredients is, what it's supposed to do, and the rest of the page tell you all the contraindications, all the things that it mash up. And if you give them this medication, you have to make sure you give them this for the liver and protect the stomach. And I said, but what is this? This is not medication. They're killing people. I worked with that company for 3 years, and that formed again my decision in the direction I know I'm at.
Wow. You know, there's always a story. You know, a lot of people, you know, I see in the health and wellness industry, healing people, there's always something that's happened to them. You don't just jump up and say, right, I'm going to heal people, I'm going to help people.
That's right.
Something has to have happened. You know, you had to have overcome something. And you thought to yourself, hold on a second, there's got to be other people out here suffering with this food, suffering with this the way of life, suffering with this abuse and all kind of thing. And if I'm able to bring myself out, then I'm able to help somebody else. And, you know, I love the fact that that is exactly what's happened with you, Dr. Sherrill. You know, you've experienced what you experienced in life, and you said, you know what, I'm going to help others. I'm not going to sit here and have all this knowledge and see what these people are doing on planet Earth to my fellow brother and sister. I'm going to get up and do something. And I love the fact that you've actually taken part in establishing, or what was it? You was a founder, if my memory serves me right, of the Minister of Family and
Minister of Family and Social Economy. Yes.
Right. So tell us a bit how you got into being the Minister of Family and Social Economy and what it entails.
Okay. Now, first of all, SOAD is the State of African Diaspora. Right. It is the 6th state of Africa, meaning that there's North Africa, South Africa, East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa. That is 5 of them. And the 6th state of Africa is all persons of African descent all around the world, outside of the continent.
Right.
So that was originally mandated by the United Nations through the African Union when they had this return. 2019 was the year of the African and the return of whatever, and it's supposed to be 400 years after slave trade began, and they were making a big hullabaloo and placing Africans at the head of every international organization. Figureheads, of course, right? And so this state was started, and they were told that they cannot be recognized by the United Nations unless they had a government. So they have to have a cabinet, a senate, a parliament, everything that a government has. And so Dr. George Louis Stinn was given the mandate to be prime minister and start this government. So what he did was he has been working reparations, return of artifacts to Africa for probably 15, 20 years. And so he used those contacts in every country to find people who were Pan-African and who were interested in the whole Africa coming together, and ask them, would you like to be an MP for your country? Would you like to? So everybody was appointed based on what their desire to help Africa was initially. And then afterwards they had elections. That was in 2020. And now 2023, everybody else will be elected after that. Okay. So I was just a MP for Jamaica, one of 5 MPs for Jamaica. And I just said, well, okay, a member of parliament is supposed to look about the welfare of the people in that country. And I had a program, a 3-year university level program that can be done by a 5-year-old about totally transforming the family, right? It's a personal program that I've been running for years, and I put it out to run it in 2020 because it's every 3 years I ran it. I ran it in 2017 privately, and in 2020 I'm running it again. And the head MP for Jamaica saw it and said, pull it down, Sherrill, and run it for the state of African diaspora. I said, no problem. I said, all you do, instead of running it at the regular price, which was $2,900 US a year, I am going to run it for like $40, $50, just the registration, so that you can get millions of people to join, who can't afford $50 for a year's tuition, right? So, and people who don't have it, then their organization or their company or their whatever can just put together and pay for them. So I said, okay. So we had to set up the platform to be able to take all those registrations and blah, blah, blah. And I put on my course and I put it back up and I ran it. I started it. And the prime minister saw the course. He said, this is amazing. It's the best thing to pull families, not only from the diaspora, but to empower the families on the African continent, because it was about taking people from grassroots and giving them a framework for an ecosystem where they can become totally self-sufficient and become totally self-determinate. Not because, you see, if you are dependent on government, they call the shots. If you are dependent on the church call the shots. You're dependent on yourself, you call the shots. And that's what my program was about. And I had engineered it to be a zero financing program. Never been done on earth before. Right? No money is given. I just show you where you can get the money and dig it out of the earth. You understand? You're not getting a coin. You're getting seeds to plant, to grow, to make value-added products, to empower yourself, to make yourself rich, right? And out of that now, you develop your own systems of wealth and you keep everything in an ecosystem together. So in your ecosystem is everything that you need. The farmer, the welder, the Everybody's in your system. So all the money circulates in your area. That's what the Chinese do. Every Chinese man have to buy Chinese.
That's right.
Everybody in that system have to buy from somebody in the system. I grow the food, you buy the food. You do the restaurant from the food I cook or you buy. Everybody, you only use the people in your ecosystem for every activity you have.
Absolutely.
So when I saw it,
yes,
they said, I got a call. I started as an MP in August. December, I got a call from the Prime Minister. Oh, Sherrill, how are you? I said, very well, thank you. How can I help you? He says, oh, I have something in mind for you. I wonder if you're interested. I said, I don't know. Let me hear about it. He says, I've created a ministry for you. I said, really? This ministry didn't exist in the government, you know. I've created a Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, all the other stuff. He says, I noticed that you are about families and improving the social and economic health of the family. So I've created a ministry, Ministry of Family and Social Security, Social Economy. Will you head it? I said, okay. You just have to give me your support in your framework so that instead of doing this for Jamaica, you have the platform for me to go into all the countries, 180 countries.
Absolutely. You sounded
so
like,
that's how it came.
It sounded like a daughter of Marcus Garvey.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Sounding like a daughter who, you know, wants to carry on their father's legacy, you know, going in and seeing what the families are about and how we can change what is happening within our melanated families. I love that. And I know you have a mission right now. I know you have a mission, and I do want to talk about the mission. I'm aware of the time on the Zoom though. So what we may have to do once this runs out is just, I've got another link to give you, and we just rejoin again once this goes out. But I want to really speak about your journey and what your mission is with the Marcus Garvey, also about the healing as well, the healing works and stuff that you do. I really want the people to know what it is exactly that you do. So before the time runs out, what I'm going to ask you though is, can you give us 5 things that we need to stop doing to get back to our roots? Before we go into the Marcus Garvey Pan-African, his words coming to pass, what are the 5 things that we as a people, in your opinion, Dr. Chong, in your experience, need to do in order to get back to our rootology, you know, to be connected with Mother Nature and so forth?
Wow, 5 things. All right. The first thing we have to do is recognize that we are body, soul, and spirit. We have to understand that we have to balance ourselves. We cannot live like animals. We cannot live. I'm not going to do 5. I'm just going to do, I'm a trilogist. I like 3.
3.
Okay, I'm going to give the 3 and 3 and 3. Okay.
3 is good.
All right.
I actually have 3 down. Right. Meant really weird that I said 5, but I've actually got 3.
Okay, 3. All right. Now, when we understand that we can react to everything, bad, good, and indifferent happens to everybody. Good and evil come to everybody, right? And we can react in 3 ways. We can react with our appetites. What I just want to have, appetite. I can react by my emotions, meaning that you know what, I feel down today, or I feel up today, or you know what, this guy always had this, me just feel like doing X, back to them.
Right.
Or I can react with my mind. Right? Now the lower animals do everything based on appetite. They want to eat, them eat. They want to have sex, them have sex. If they want to run, them run. If they want to sleep, when they want to sleep, and so on, so on, so on. Okay, that clearly is the lowest form of a reaction. Right? I don't want to go that route. Although I very often do. I feel like ice cream, and I just go buy it instead of going and getting. Instead of going and getting.
Still having it sometimes, you know.
Vineyard Town ice cream, don't have no dairy. So, so all right. Okay. So emotions is the next one. You know, emotions need to be our servants. We need to create the emotion that we want. So that I heard your affirmations before I came on. Absolutely essential in life.
Yeah.
Because you will have what you say.
That's right.
And so when you feel like doing something that is not in your best interest, this is your emotional response, you start to talk to yourself, self-talk, that says, how is this going to help me? It's not about how is this going to punish him. How is this going to advance me?
That's right.
And once you self-talk yourself out of that, you now master your emotions.
Yeah.
I used to do laughing therapy classes. I go to a church.
Yes. Laughing.
I say, today is prayer meeting, is healing meeting.
Right.
Right. And everybody come to get laid hands on for prayer and healing. And I say, well, guess what? I'm not lay hands on nobody now. We're going to laugh at the enemy, and we're going to laugh until whatever is wrong in your body goes.
Right.
Laughter is the best medicine. And I start to say, and I just start off the laughter. And I just start laughing at somebody there, and they're standing up watching me. And then I get into a peal of laughter, hold my belly, fall up on the ground, kick up my foot in the ear. And by the time I get there, everybody's laughing.
That's right.
I said, find whatever ridiculous to laugh. And your brain does not know whether it is a forced laughter or a real laughter that is stimulated by something funny. And we laugh and we laugh and laugh until the past, and everybody is on the floor. And I get up, I say, Satan, you lose. You are the author of sickness, and God is our healer. And go into praise and worship. Next day, everybody go to the doctor, and cancer gone, and this gone, and that gone, everything gone.
Wow.
So you see, you got to decide that your emotions are your servant.
Yeah.
Mindset. When you stop, I have a friend, you see, the same person who brought me into this SOAD.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I talk to him, he annoys me to push foot, right? Because when you talk to him, you just hear silence. He will not answer you immediately. Never, ever. I always have to say, are you still there? You hearing me? Yes, Sherrill.
You have lessons.
And then he starts talk because he is thinking over what you have asked him. And that is what I want to develop.
And I want you to just stick a pin right there on what we want to develop as we move over to the next thing, because it's about to cut out on us. We're going to take a musical break as we change.
Wonderful.
We'll be right back, okay? All right. So if you just joined us on the Elevation Show,